Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into an important topic that affects about 1 in 5,000 people worldwide, Marfan Syndrome. This genetic disorder can have a big impact on the body, so if you or someone you know is affected by Marfan Syndrome, or if you're just curious to learn more, stick around and let's get into it. What is Marfan Syndrome? To start off, what exactly is Marfan Syndrome? Marfan syndrome is a genetic disorder that affects the body's connective tissue, the fibers that support and anchor your organs, blood vessels, bones, and even your heart. It was first discovered by a French pediatrician named Antoine Marfan in 1896, and ever since, doctors and scientists have been studying this condition to understand it better. Section 1. Overview of Marfan syndrome. Marfan syndrome is what's called an autosomal dominant disorder. This means that if one parent has the condition, there's a 50% chance it will be passed on to their child. Marfan syndrome is caused by a mutation in the FBN1 gene, which is responsible for making a protein called fibrillin 1, which is crucial for elasticity and strength of connective tissues, so when the gene is faulty, the connective tissues become weakened, causing a variety of issues. Section 2. Signs and symptoms. Next, let's talk about the signs and symptoms. Marfan syndrome affects everyone differently, and the severity can range from mild to life-threatening. But generally, there are three major areas where symptoms show up the most: the skeletal system, the eyes, and the cardiovascular system. The skeletal system. People with Marfan syndrome often have distinctive physical characteristics like long arms, legs, and fingers. They may also be very tall and thin with flexible joints. Some may have scoliosis or a sunken chest or protruding chest, a condition called pectus excavatum or pectus carinatum. Eyes. The eyes are another common area affected. More than half of people with Marfan syndrome experience a dislocation of the lens in one or both eyes, a condition called excotopia, lentis. This may also have a higher risk of developing nearsightedness, glaucoma, or cataracts at a younger age. Cardiovascular system. The most serious complications of Marfan syndrome often involve the heart and blood vessels. A weakened aorta, the large blood vessel that carries blood from the heart to the rest of the body, is particularly concerning. The aorta can stretch, bulge, or even tear, leading to life-threatening complications, if not monitored and treated. This is called an aortic aneurysm and an aortic dissection. Section 3. Causes. So what causes Marfan syndrome? It all goes back to genetics. As I mentioned earlier, Marfan syndrome is caused by a mutation in the FBN1 gene, which provides instructions for making fibrillin 1. When fibrillin 1 isn't produced properly, it leads to weaker connective tissues, which in turn affects various parts of the body. This gene mutation is typically inherited, meaning if a parent has Marfan syndrome, there's a 50% chance they could pass it on to their children. However, in about 25% of cases, the mutation happens spontaneously, meaning it occurs without a family history. Section 4. Diagnosis and treatment. Diagnosing Marfan syndrome can be challenging because symptoms can overlap with those of other conditions. Doctors may use a combination of physical exams, genetic tests, and imaging tests like echocardiograms to look for the typical signs in the heart, blood vessels, bones, and eyes. Although there is no cure for Marfan syndrome, early diagnosis and treatment can make a huge difference. Medications like beta blockers can help reduce the strain on the aorta, and surgery might be necessary to repair or replace damaged blood vessels. Lifestyle adjustments, regular checkups, and specialised care can also help manage symptoms. Section 5. Living with Marfan syndrome. Now, before I get into this part, I thought it would be good to explain why I chose Marfan syndrome to make a video on. And that's because I've actually been diagnosed with Marfan syndrome. I found out I had Marfan Syndrome when I went to join the army at 17. I wanted to be in the infantry. I got through the aptitude test, psychological exam, all that stuff, and then I got to the medical. Now, before I get into this, I really got to say I've never heard of Marfan Syndrome before, but as soon as I walked into the medical room, the doctor took one look at me and he knew straight away. All the doctors I'd seen throughout my whole life had said nothing, but this guy knew with just one look. So I went through all the tests and all that anyway, and by the end of it, he confirmed, basically in his mind, that he was right. So I failed the medical, obviously. He didn't think it would stop me to be able to do stuff, but he was worried about me doing the training and doing something that might be ultimately the army might be responsible for. Yeah, I talked to the doctor afterwards about what Marfan Syndrome was, and he explained that it might affect my heart, my back, and my eyes. He didn't really go into detail or anything, but he said I couldn't do any heavy lifting or strenuous activity, which kind of shocked me at 17 to be told that. I'd always been into sports. I played soccer. I'd always worked in construction, landscaping, and I'd never had a problem before. So to be told that at 17 was, kind of a shock. After all that went down, I went to my local doctor, who pretty much confirmed what this doctor had told me, and he gave me a list of specialists and tests that I would have to do. But at 17, I was young and bulletproof and stupid and never got around to it. I kind of regret that now. But that's sort of why I'm making this video, just to inform people that there is this information out there, kind of thing, and you're not alone. That's kind of my story. We'll get back into this. Alright, Section 5, Living with Marfan Syndrome. Living with Marfan Syndrome can be challenging, but many people with the condition lead fulfilling lives. It's all about taking the right precautions, staying informed, and working with the healthcare team to monitor any complications. Support from friends, family, and support groups can be incredibly helpful for individuals and families affected by Marfan Syndrome. Organisations like the Marfan Syndrome Foundation offer resources, support networks, and advocacy to help people with Marfan Syndrome live their best lives. And I'll put a link to their website in their description, so you can go check that out if you do need support. Alright, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. Remember, knowledge is power, and learning about these conditions can make a big difference. Stay healthy, stay informed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.